It is exactly 2 p.m. Hello and welcome to FESBC Market View. This is the Thursday edition. Thank you for tuning in. You can watch us on our YouTube page, Eswatini TV, on this TV as well, channel 286. My name is Lungilele Makakula. Thank you for tuning in. The Federation of Eswatini Business Community invites small and medium enterprises at Ebuseleni to join them at Ebuseleni Umphakathi on the 16th of October, where the Federation will be providing information on markets and available financing opportunities. Stay tuned to listen to the resource mobilizer Sibongile Skula as she shares more information on the outreach program. And in our leading story today, 80 small and medium enterprises holders have been trained on the role played by Standards Authority to facilitate trade and increase market access, as well as the requirements for product labeling and standards. And our business journalist today, Neli Dlangamandla, had a detailed interview with Eswatini Standard Authority Standards Development Officer Mila Grosa Mondlane for an insight on the requirements requires standards to increase your business chances of the Eswatini Federation. For later, Sunny Lesbia will join us for today's financial markets. For now, let's go straight to business news, our first story. And for our first story, the Eswatini Federation of Business Community has outlined key areas where they seek to focus on as they uplift small and medium enterprises in the country. The key focus areas, which include adherence to standards for better chances at trade, were outlined by the Chief Executive Officer Ben Simelane.
We'll talk about 5 points that we want to unpack as short to medium term action from FESBC. The first one being the production. We want to talk about production because the farmers or the members need to decide on what they need to produce going forward. But obviously there is more that we will be talking about in terms of production. Then we want to also talk about packaging, which is how do you package your product? How do you make it sellable? Again, there's more to it, which we will be talking about going forward. The next P being placement. Where do you put your product so that it's reaching the destination, the people that want to buy it? Again, that thing is very important. That aspect is very important. Then the next piece is the price. Again, our members do not need to underprice because then they won't recover the cost. They also don't need to overprice because outside there it's a competitive environment between buying and selling. So the price basically is determined by the demand and supply. So again, we need to be sensitive to that. Okay, what is critical in production? Basically, I'll dwell on maybe two aspects. The first one being the systems. You must have a system when you produce, so that you are able to repeat whatever you do. You can tell what you have done, because at the end of the day, when you sell your product, we will be asking our members to at least subject their produce to some standards, like ISO standards. But with the indigenous business people, especially on the farming side, we want to promote what is being at the moment developed called Ingelo quality system, which also is using aspects of using the ISO standards as a principle, as a base. Production. Also, what you produce, you need to also bother yourself to understand the other piece, like the placement. Will it be sellable? So you can't just produce, and the quantity also depends on a lot of factors. So
The Federation of Eswatini Business Community invites small and medium enterprises at Ebuseleni to join them at Ebuseleni Umphakathi on the 16th, where the Federation will be providing information on markets and available financing opportunities. The resource mobilizer Sibongile Skudla shares more information on the outreach program.
We're starting on our community outreach and in the agricultural space for those who are doing production on animals and also on crops and vegetables. We are doing an outreach visit at Buseleni community on the 16th, and we want to make sure that the markets are coming alongside ourselves. So at Buseleni, we've also been invited together with the markets like ShopRite, together with the financiers, and also some of the people who are going to be interested in buying the products that are going to be grown in the community are going to be available with us, including other support structures that are there, ensuring that the farmer is able to farm correctly and is able to package correctly and is able to sell correctly. So we're making waves in this industry because we've realized that the earlier the standing up, the better for farmers to make a collective approach towards markets, towards capital, and towards agricultural business know-how.
80 small and medium enterprise holders have been trained on the role played by standards to facilitate trade and increase market access, as well as the requirements for product labeling and standards. The Executive Director of Eswatini Standards Authority, Ncamiso Mhlanga, says this comes after a realization that most small-scale businesses have been struggling to meet standards, hence the need for the training, which is ongoing at Kodek Eswatini.
Today we are meeting over 80 small-scale business people and for a training that pertains to standards. Our focus is on packaging and branding. That's why we are meeting them, just to train them on how they should package their products and how they should make sure that their products meet the market standards. You will be aware that the government is exploring various markets across the globe and across different parts of the world. One of those markets are the AFCTA, which is going to be a continental African trade area market. And we are talking about exporting products to other countries. But also we've got local market in the country whereby we are consuming products from different SMEs and that are selling within the country. So the training today is focused on how do they really package the product, because some SMEs, they just create their own labels and they just plug the labels there, but a labeling of a product that is going to be consumed by people should follow certain standards. Some of them you find that the label is saying this product is 5 kg, but when now the consumer checks the product, it's 4.5. That's a crime, because you have made a false claim and say that this product is this size, but it's not in actual sense. So that's the first thing that we want to deal with and make the SMEs aware that there are certain ways to label a product. Secondly, there are nutritional values in a label that is attached to any product. Some people will give false claims to say that this particular product gives certain benefits when you consume it or when you use it. However, when the person or the consumer try to use the product, he finds that the product doesn't actually meet those requirements. So we're here to also train our SMEs in terms of how do you actually label and how do you actually do those kind of branding. Some of these products, they need to be tested before you can actually apprehend a label on them. So one of the things is to also take them through how a product is tested to ensure that those nutritional requirements or those safety requirements that are indicated in the label are adhered to.
It's 10 minutes after 2, and that's it for our business news for this afternoon. After the break, Nelsie has a detailed interview with SWASA's Development Officer. Stay tuned.
As the saying goes, education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom. Great news for the learners. Eswatini TV brings back the home learning with a wide range of subjects for the grade 7s, Form 3s and Form 5s from the safety of their home.
Change in speed and there's no change in wavelength, meaning that the wavelength of the incident wavefronts.
Watch home learning every Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. only on Eswatini TV. Sibuko Semaswati.
Welcome back. This is FESBC Market View. Thank you for tuning in. Are you a small and medium enterprise holder and you want to increase your business chances of trading in bigger markets? Well, we've got you covered as the Eswatini Standards Authority has shared some of the vital standards that can boost your business's chances of market access. Business journalist Nilsiwe Ndlangamandla sat down with Eswatini Standards Authority's Development Officer Mila Grosa Mondlane for an insight on the requirement.
Welcome to the show, Mila. Today, as Swasa, you are talking about standards, the standard of packaging and labeling, which I believe contributes to industry integrity, especially for the small and medium enterprises. Why is the standard important and why should businesses have such a standard?
Okay. Firstly, standards are applicable for everyone. Either you are a small, medium, micro enterprise, standards are applicable up to large enterprises, because basically what standards do is to safeguard safety.
What kind of information should be on the packaging?
Firstly, as a standards body, we've been observing, more especially during the International Trade Fair, we've moved around the different stores and we've seen a lot of small, medium enterprises with their products. And we saw that these products are not conforming to the labeling standards. And as a standards body, we then felt and saw the need to equip Eswatini with the knowledge that they need for them to identify or to choose appropriate packaging material and for them to also put the appropriate labeling information that is required on the package. So as a standards body, we felt and we saw that majority of the MSMEs, their products are not going to reach the market shelves, because when you look at the product on its own, the product, the packaging used on its own, it's not attracting, it's not talking to me as a consumer, So today, as a standards body, we felt the need to say, you know what, can we just bring them here to advise them, to say, now, as a manufacturer, you have produced your product. Now you need to choose the packaging. Packaging has different functions. For example, containment. The packaging needs to be able to contain your product, to avoid any spillages. The packaging needs to safeguard the contents, So we are here today to really give them insights, to say every time you're thinking of a packaging, these are the things that you need to consider. When it comes to labeling, the packaging talks to the consumer. So there's information that must be there, and standards have outlined that information. For example, the packaging label must tell us what is in here. So we have seen with some SMEs, you'll find that it's not even clear, it's not there. You have to ask, what is this? The standard says the product name must be available. Who manufactured it? So we need the details as well.
I know that Eswasa is just a standards body, Mila, but what sort of regulation is there for compliance of these standards?
So in that space where you find that you have bought a certain product from a manufacturer and that product is not doing what it was intended or was promised to you, we have a Eswatini Competition Commission that has been established to handle customer complaints like that. As for us as SWASA, as a standards body, our role is to advise. How can you put a claim? When do you put a claim? How do you put it? Now, when it comes to you as a consumer saying, now, you know what, I've been drinking this tea for a whole month and outside the label is saying within 15 days, and it's been 30 days. Such issues, we then have to then forward them to a certain competition commission. But for any health health products, the Ministry of Health needs to regulate that sector. Because now, a certain competition can only advise and help you get your money back, or, but in terms of regulation, that's the space where the ministry then comes into play to say this is what is required, or these are the minimum requirements based on UNICEF.
Some products come with different claims, some promising health benefits, some promising that if you use this product, you are going to get maybe fast results. Why is it important for a product to live up to the claim that it has made?
Yes, another key issue that we have observed, a lot of, especially the pharmaceutical products, we've observed claims, health claims on the products. And one of the things that standards try to emphasize, you cannot put a health claim especially without any evidence to substantiate that claim, because that can be misleading to the consumer. Because their products are having claims, and a consumer will spend a lot of money on a product that there is no evidence to prove the claims or substantiate the claims. So today, as a standards body, we're also here to advise the MSMEs that for you to put a claim, especially health claims, to say fat burning tea, removal of dandruff, those are health claims, which means as SMEs, and the product probably is working, we're going to advise them, as you are making your product and it's working, record everything that you're doing. Get the feedback from your clients, get the feedback, document everything so that all these claims can be substantiated with evidence, and then engage the Ministry of Health to then assist on how we can then publish and get endorsement on those claims. Because right now, it is not advisable for a business person to put on a claim that cannot be substantiated by scientific evidence that the claim is true. So with the claims, we are misleading clients and consumers, because people have bought, they'll come and buy a product to say it removes acne, within 15 days, your acne will be gone. The person buys the product, and within 15 days, the acne is still there. Actually, it's multiplying even more. So it means when you put a claim and it cannot be substantiated with evidence, because also another thing, it's very important even for a business person to also put a disclaimer that it can vary, because people react differently to different products. Those are some of the things that we are here to advise our small, medium enterprises on, to say, if you're going to put a claim, this is what you need to be mindful of on your product. Health claims need scientific evidence. Without scientific evidence, you cannot put a claim.
Why is it important for small and medium enterprises to know the different products that they put into their final product or the end product that they will now sell to the consumer?
All right. One thing that standards try to emphasize is when you are using your ingredients or selecting your different materials for your products, it needs to be supplied materials that are safe, proven, checked, that are safe. Because you'll find that if you don't know about the products and then you mix them, their interaction might produce something that may be harmful to the consumer. So what we try to do is to advise producers to say, know your ingredients, know the safety aspects of the products that you are using, and put the relevant information, because one thing that the labeling requirement is put warnings. How do you use this product? The directions for this product, if it gets into your eye, for example, if it's a cosmetic product, wash quickly. Those are some of the things that the standard require, that if it's a product that can pose a certain limit or a certain danger to the consumer, put it there. Let the consumer know. That's what we are here to tell them, to say, if you know your product characteristics and there are certain things that can then be harmful to the consumer, let the consumer know, because the consumer will know about the product when they read the label. So if that information is not there, how will the consumer know? You'll find that then the consumer uses the products wrongly. and it affects them because you have not put the information. Or, for example, if you have manufactured a product and you've put in nuts, people are allergic. So we need some allergen information to say this product might contain nuts or was produced in an area that has nuts. So that information must be there so that the consumer can make an informed decision when buying the product. Do I buy it or I don't? Because you find that the claims people do, they mislead the customer. They say the product has low energy, has no sugar, when in fact it has sugar. So one thing that we can do, or we try to advise people on as a standards body, is the products need to be tested. And unfortunately, at the moment as a country, we don't have a laboratory that can assist in testing such parameters and products to substantiate the claims of no sugar, low energy, But standards, they do guide to say, if you're going to say your product is no sugar added, it will tell you, you will only declare that if this is happening. For example, if it's less than 0.4 grams per kg, then you can do a disclaimer to say there's no sugar in this product. So the standards guide.
If a small and medium enterprise holder believes that they are adhering to these standards and they want to increase their markets, is there a way they can get checked or certified for such standards, and what is required for them to be certified?
All right. When it comes to implementation of standards, it's purely a voluntary action that a business person takes on. It's voluntary. So now when you see that as an SME, you are expanding, your business is growing, obviously you are getting no complaints, people are happy with your product, it means you're doing well. Now, one thing that you need to know, if you want to start supplying the retailers, get in touch with the retailer will tell you their requirements. And when you want to get certification, that's where SWASA comes in. SWASA comes in to certify your product or your process, your business process. So that's basically, it's entirely voluntary. The business owner just decides and they come to SWASA. And at SWASA, we're going to advise and give a quote and tell them how much it will cost and the time it will take, and they will be happy because obviously you are going to be certified against a renowned and accepted standard. So when you're going to, as a business owner, being certified by SWASA against a standard, every business will open because the standards are approved and they are known, even from Eswatini.
Siyabonga kakhulu Mila for joining us on the show. We are hoping that owners of small and medium enterprises will understand that adhering to standards will open doors for them, will open markets even beyond the borders of Eswatini.
It's 24 minutes after 2. Thank you for staying with us. And for our final segment, we have connected with Sanil Esbia, in-house economist, to give us today's financial markets. Ms. Esbia, good afternoon and welcome to Facebook Market View. Perhaps we can start off with currencies. Today we are behind schedule. If you could just go through our markets today, how are they reacting?
Hi, Lulu. So starting with currencies, what we are seeing with the currency market is, the Lilangeni is trying to regain the ground that it lost in the past couple of days, but we are still not yet in those highs that we saw earlier on in the previous months. And then going to the US markets, what we are seeing there is, there is that bit of penduluming between the highs and lows. So markets are seemingly losing and gaining the same amount. So the net effect is that they're about zero. So we're seeing that the issue of Hurricane Milton that's going to make landfall, and then there's also Hurricane Helen that just hit a couple of weeks ago. So that is actually hitting hard on the insurers, and at the same time we are seeing that interest rate uncertainty coming into play with the issue around with the issue around, inflation that might pick up given the job numbers that we saw last week, and also the uncertainty around the elections. When we go into the UK, into the European markets, what we are seeing there is relatively the same picture. Markets have actually slowed down as we are awaiting that data to come out from the US to really just signal where the markets are going to go, whether we are in a low interest rate era and we are actually going to usher in a low or rather what we call soft landing. So that's what we are seeing happening in the European markets, with the FTSE 100 losing a bit of ground. Same thing with the CAC in France, but with Germany, we're seeing that the manufacturers are still holding strong. And then when we move into the Asian markets, what we are seeing there is, Asia is picking up a bit. Again, making those pendulamic type of switches, moving from a high to a low. What we are seeing, though, that is quite interesting is, we've seen the Bank of Japan come out to say that, they are going to stay on the interest rate path, if we are seeing the numbers come out and they're going to be quite well. And then what we've seen again is, with India in the region pulling up overall growth, and we've seen the growth forecast for the region being upgraded upwards. So that means that's a region that's relatively going to perform well. But we are still waiting to see how China fares and all of that. But at the present moment, we're seeing Beijing really just moving up in the trends, back in the 3,300 mark that we saw earlier on in the year. And then when we come down to South Africa, what we are seeing again is markets have actually lost from the 87,000 mark back to that 86, 85 type of region. But as we are awaiting that data to come through, we are seeing that, markets are not responding well. We're waiting for the US data to come through. Markets, on the red, are on the green, but still very shy of that 86, 87,000 mark in terms of volumes. So that's what we're looking for. And we're also seeing, that big hit that one of the miners in South Africa is potentially facing. And when you look into the Asian region, China being the main trading partner for South Africa is still in that demand type of trends. And then when we come into the domestic markets, Lou, you will see that we've seen some downward movements in terms of the Eswatini Stock Exchange, losing some 0.0%. That's largely driven by, some selling in within SEL, which is Eswatini Empowerment Limited. And we're also seeing Inala Capital also losing. So we're seeing the financiers that are supposed to be backed by very good financial instruments not performing well in the local stock market, selling off just a few of their shares. And when we come into commodities, what we are seeing with commodities is we are seeing that, oil continues to be on an upward surge, as we are seeing the crisis in the Middle East really boiling to a tipping point. We've seen that it is now spread to Lebanon, it has spread to Iran, it has spread to Syria. So now there's 3 countries that are on the front lines. And what we are seeing, we've seen Iran coming out to say that they are not going to spare oil refineries throughout the region should Israel continue its onslaught. So we're seeing all of that happening, and that's why we're seeing the price of Brent crude back on that 77,000 mark, on that $77 per barrel mark. But gold is relatively on a calm as we are waiting for that inflation data, because we are not sure whether it's going to be a hedging market or it's going to be a market for equities and all of those, and other financial instruments. And then when we come back to the currencies, you see that we've lost a bit of ground against all major currencies. That actually comes as that demand deficiency across the globe. But because the overall globe is at that chance, while we are waiting for that inflation data to come out perhaps tomorrow, and the election uncertainty is now setting in. So that's why we're seeing that marginal gain in against all major currencies, but we are not yet at those levels that we were seeing. Because remember, we thought that we're finding a new equilibrium around 1710 against the dollar, around 1910 against the euro, and around 811 against the Japanese yen. But we are seeing that, albeit those minor gains, we're still far off from those points that we thought were going to be equilibriums, Lulu. And thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Spear, for that analysis for today's financial markets. So that's it for our final segment. We've come to the end of our program today. This was FESBC Market View. Thank you for tuning in. And if you've just joined us, do watch us on our YouTube page. We are Eswatini TV. We'll see you on Monday at exactly 2 p.m. Thank you for tuning in. Have a lovely day.